This is the first of a series of videos I'm making about how to start a fruit orchard, and I'm going to talk about my own fruit orchard. This land that you see here, this allotment plot, I got it about 18 months ago, less than 20 months, less than 2 years, and it was flat, nothing was here. I built a polytunnel and I started to plant trees, then building fences around it just for protection as a fruit cage. Then I put a bird netting over it just to stop the birds from eating the produce that fruits we have here. Then after a while I saw that, okay, this is actually a good enclosure. So besides growing fruit, I can actually let my chickens come in. For that, I have to actually fox-proof it. So I did a little bit gradually here and there. And now it is in the second year of it. You see the fruit orchard in the day of the 6th of the November 2015. It is as it is. I have about 120 fruit trees and fruit bushes here. And lots of, I've not counted the numbers of the blackberries and raspberries that I have, just normal things that those are things that I had it before this. So how to start a fruit orchard? First of all, you have to be interested in fruits. If you're not interested in fruits, you may just end up doing things that you don't like. Actually, you're not going to eat them. So the best thing is that go after what you like. And the best way for that is just to go to a supermarket or a farmer's market somewhere that you know, or Apple's Day if you have apple days, or open days in the nurseries, usually around the October time. So you can go there and just taste the different fruits and just see what you like. Or go to a supermarket. Sometimes supermarkets, especially supermarkets like Aldi, Lidl and Morrison's, they bring homegrown produce like British apples and British pears and locally produced plums and damsons and different varieties of exotic fruits that you can also plant in the UK or in the polytunnel if you have a polytunnel. So the best way is to first choose what you like. Then after that, think about how much you want to spend. If you just want to have 1 or 2 trees, okay. I recommend, because you will end up with 1 or 2 trees that you don't have any other things except those 2, 3, 4, whatever number you are choosing. It's better to make your choice really carefully. Don't go for something from a supermarket, this or that supermarket, that you may not know actually what are they, the end result. It's better to go to reputable nurseries, somewhere that you know. I recommend Keeper's Nursery for apples, pears, cherries, and all kind of plums, and also medlars. And also, if you want, for example, white currant and currants, generally red currant, white currant, this is a good source. If you want your trees be a little bit, a little bit more expensive, or you want to definitely in first year they give you something, you can go for Blackmore Nursery. Blackmore Nursery is also good. I found that both of them are good. Keeper's Nursery is now proving in the second year to me that the choices I made from the Keeper's Nursery are actually better. This tree you see, Topaz apple, is better, is from the Keeper's Nursery, and I found it really better. Now it's 6th of November and I have yet fruit on this. And yeah. Okay, so if it was me, because the tree, when you plant it, that's it is there, it will be there for 20 years. As long as it has a life, it will be there. You will get stuck with it. So make a good choice. For that, you have to think about what kind of at which time of the year you want to have that fruit. You can have fruits which are coming early or middle of the season. Early means July and August and those times. Mid means September and early October, and late means October onward, November and December up to whatever time. So best thing is actually to go to the websites of these nurseries, read a lot. I recommend read a lot. If you are not sure, if you have not a chance to taste anything, read a lot about them. Pipping, orange pipping, there is a website called Orange Pipping. They have a lot of tasting videos, tasting information. I have myself also in my videos, when I eat something, I just usually go and make a tasting video about it. You can refer to them. I try to be impartial when I'm describing the taste. If it is not tasteful, I will just tell it. And if it is tasteful, I also tell it. So the information is reliable on my own. I try to actually, in my own YouTube channel, to produce a kind of encyclopedic visual guide for tasting of fruits and other things. So you can use my own videos or go to the Keeper's Nursery. Keeper's Nursery catalog is the most extensive catalog of any nursery I've ever seen. They have the largest number of the apples and the pears and plums that I've ever seen in this country, except some research centers that, of course, they don't. Their catalog is not available, so you cannot really go through them. Other choice is just to go and buy a few books, start to read, or see somebody who already has one and just talk to them. Usually, people try to not underrate what they have, the choice they have made. So, just try to really eliminate those kind of biases in their thing. If you for example find them that they bought something from a supermarket and they're saying that really is nice or so, but they don't know much about other different varieties of fruit, the same fruit, for example apple, that means probably they didn't have a choice actually. They don't know much about the other varieties that exist that can enjoy. So the first step is to choose your tree, where to buy it. In the next video I will say that how to choose the different varieties. How to start a fruit orchard, and now we are talking about what kind of fruits you can grow in Britain. I live in the southern parts of the southern part of the Britain, so British Isle, and what I'm saying is generally true for this area that we are living in south. For the northern parts, Midland, Wales and Scotland and north of England, just the dates slightly vary, 2-3 weeks. The amount of the heat that they have is slightly less than us, the daylight and everything. So just adapt it. But there are fruit trees that are adapted for what we can grow here, and they can grow better there. And mostly because of the damp and the lowest level of the sunlight. So what I'm talking about now is the varieties of fruit. Fruits you can grow, the most widely spread is the apple. There are thousands probably of apple trees that you can grow, and I'm not exaggerating, thousands. In the UK at least, I can tell you that in a place like a Keeper's Nursery, you will be seeing hundreds of varieties of apple. And you can order them, you can buy them. They're very good, different taste. Don't try to go just for one variety of apple. If you have the choice for up to 3 or 5 apple trees, go for one early season, one mid-season, one late season. These are the things you can find in the website of the Keeper's Nursery. It's easy to find it. Use their catalog to learn about them, and then choose the one that you like. It's best to go for Apple Day, or try when you see the fruits available in the supermarket, local fruits. Look at the name of the apples and the varieties just to learn how it is. Another variety of the fruit you can grow are plums and damsons. Of course, this is a Marjorie seedling plum. It's in its first year as I planted it. It's now more than 2.5 meters tall. There are so many varieties of the plums and damsons in this country. So it's a very good fruit. You really enjoy it. Again, you will have early, late, and early, mid, and late season fruits. Another variety of the fruit you can grow are cherries. Cherries actually were very common in the past, before 1950s in the UK. And it's now sad that we have lost many of the orchards to commercial growing of other produce. Wheat mostly, probably, or land for building on them, towns and structures. Anyway, easy to grow. This is a Merton Glory cherry, very disease resistant, very good tree. It gave me fruit in the first year. I bought it from Keeper's Nursery again. So you can grow cherries easily in Britain. Another variety of fruit you can grow is peach. I recommend that if you want to grow anything outdoors for peach, go for the peach leaf curl resistant variety. This is a Avalon Pride, and is relatively very good resistance. It shows very good resistance to peach leaf curl. I had it. It's in the first year. It gave me about 5 or 6 fruits, large, juicy fruits. The leaves, a few of them suffered from it, but just removed them, and then the tree is all right. And it had put a good growth. I was really hopeless that it may not grow well, but it did well. And yeah. Another variety of the tree you can grow, fruit tree, another fruit variety is pears. Of course, this was a Concord pear. You can go for many different kind of pears. Santa is a good late pear. I saw it in the Keeper's Nursery open day in the, I think, 4th of October this year. It was 2015. It was, and what you can choose as much as you like. Concord is, I found it is very trouble free. Gives you fruit abundant fruit. It's a hybrid between the Conference and Comis. Comis is a tasteful, Conference is a prolific pear. Both of them, the qualities are inherited into the Concord. Another variety of the fruit you can grow in Britain easily is medlar. Medlar, this is Iranian medlar. You can grow Nottingham medlar, or kind of Netherlands medlars also. Iranian medlar is good because it ripens on the tree. Unlike the Nottingham, it will not split. Yes. Okay, now I'm going back to the subject of how to start a fruit orchard. And I told that what kind of varieties of fruit you can grow. Of course, soft fruits you can consider all the time. This is a tayberry. Tayberry is actually not the tastiest of the berries, but it's nice to have it as an addition to the palate. Blackberries are very good. You can have a good crop of them. Cherries, sour cherries. You can have fig, which I have on that other part. I will go and show it to you now. Okay, another kind of fruit that you can grow in Britain and will give you a good crop is figs. Figs are very prolific. You have to contain those roots. So if you not give just leaves to you because it likes to do photosynthesis, you have to encourage it to actually feel that it is actually dying in a way. That's the way trees will spread their DNA in the form of fruits. That is what we want, fruits. So by adding potassium, or potassium deficiency actually causes this fruit giving, dying, near death experience for the tree. The same will happen when you secure the root in a kind of pot or something like a slab. Slab in the ground is better because you will have water available directly. Another fruit that you can grow in Britain easily is at least in the southern Britain, or if you are in northern parts in a warmer, sheltered greenhouse or conservatory, is kiwi fruit. I planted this kiwi fruit in this year, 2015. It gave several beautiful flowers. It was first year. I didn't expect it much. The flower didn't materialize to fruit, so we will see how it will do this year. And other varieties of the fruit you can grow, and I recommend it really well because of the. As you see, we have a police chase in the air, so unfortunately they are making noise. Okay, What you can grow in Britain very well nowadays because of the global warming is grape. If somebody says global warming is not true, is a lie. It's true. We can grow grapes now in Britain. Of course, there are varieties usually from Germany that they can grow here without much problem. They are adapted to the wet and damp climate. Oh, you see So I highly recommend growing grapes. They are very productive. They give you good product. I will mention the names of the variety in due course, so don't worry about that. Another kind of fruit you may grow, as I mentioned, are quinces. Quinces, there are many varieties of quinces available. About 10 of them I know. This is an Iranian quince called Isfahan. Isfahan is a very beautiful and aromatic and sweet. Actually, you can eat it raw even without cooking. And there are other varieties that you can just go to the Keeper's Nursery website or any book that you have. Just look at it. Books about fruits are. There are a few good ones. I have made some videos about them. You can refer to those videos. As I mentioned, people know cherries by the sweet cherries, but the sour cherry is actually more prolific and trouble-free. This is a sour cherry in its second year. He gave a few fruits last year and is now growing well. It's about it from Asta, so I didn't expect that much. But look at the healthy growth he had put in 1-2 years. And I can say that is a good one. The tree is almost 1 inch thick now. It has typical cherry satin skin, satin textured skin, beautiful chestnut color bark, skin of the bark. This is a good tree you can grow, and I recommend it. Of course, if you have a warmer sheltered area, you can grow apricot. You can grow nectarine. I've not tried it. I've planted apricot. Apricot was doing well anyway. I will talk about it later, how it is doing. You need a better sheltered position for that than what I have available at the moment. And this is another variety of the sweet cherry, of course. Between all your other fruit trees, you can grow soft fruits, lots of blueberries, tayberry, as I mentioned. You can grow lots of raspberry. This is one of my several of the sites that I have raspberry available. Even now it is November 16 and I have raspberry yet on this. Yummy. And yes, it's giving flower at this time. This is another of the blackberries. 16 November 2015 is getting flower. Very prolific. I like this. I will try to grow more of this variety next year. Look at the flowers it has. And it is now November 16. It's Monday. And of course, soft fruits are always available. You can grow lots of strawberry between these trees I've planted. So that's another option you have. I'm sure the moment I stop making this video, this helicopter will also disappear. Funny. Okay, now we have chosen the trees that we want, the kind of fruits that we want. Then the next stage is where to plant it. You can use it in a combination with the vegetables and fruits. If you have a smaller space, tree goes vertical, the vegetables will go horizontal. You can do that like the way I did for the strawberry beds there. The trees are there and strawberries are taking the space between them. That's the way of doing it, using the maximum space. You can build a patio between them, just somewhere that you can stand without getting muddy in the winter or rainy days. And yeah, this is the way you do it. But the most important thing after that is to find the proper space. Proper spacing depends on the rootstock you are choosing. Rootstock. What's the rootstock? Rootstock is the root that will provide the food for the tree. So up to here, that can be an unproductive tree on its own, most probably. But it has good root system. In a way, if it is dwarfing, semi-dwarfing, vigorous or semi-vigorous, that determines how much the roots will spread in the soil, how long, for how far, and how much food will be available to the graft. Graft is the productive part of the tree from a known parentage that will give you exactly what you want, the fruit that you want with the qualities that you have in your mind. So the rootstock, as I told, for this space that I have used here, mostly are dwarfing and semi-dwarfing. So if I talk about the apples, that is M27 rootstock that I've chosen here. This will grow nothing more than the 1.5 meter to 1.8 meters. So practically you will have a limited amount of the space taken by this, but that means also your fruit will be limited. If you go for the dwarfing rootstock, which is M27 for the apples, this means in this case I have given this space for about 1.60 centimeter between each tree. That is the amount of the space I've given. My neighbors have given similar or less. I don't recommend less because that means practically you will not be able to move between the trees. But if you have that amount, that's the minimum I recommend. Then, if you have more than one row of the trees, and if you, of course, we are talking about the apples now, then you will give the next row more space by working in a zigzag pattern. From that tree to that tree, 1.5 meter, 1.60. So the next tree are planted in the line which is between them. So that tree is there, that tree is there. In the line between them, okay, there is a line. I joined them together there. In the middle of that line, 1.80 centimeter, I came back and planted this tree. This is, of course, a peach tree, Avalon Pride. And then I start a row again here, 1.60 centimeter. The next tree, which is this Iranian medlar. Then the next Iranian medlar goes there. Then the next tree, which is a pear in the Queen's C rootstock, which is again semi-dwarfing or dwarfing rootstock of Concord pear, will be here, 1.60 centimeter. The next 1.60 is this taken by this Marjorie seedling plum. So the next row, again joining the line between this and that tree, in the middle of it, 80 centimeter, extending 180 centimeter. I come to this point. 180 centimeters is about 6 feet. So I come to this point. That's the place that I planted this topaz apple. And again, another tree there. That's a cherry, 1.60 centimeter. In this direction, another cherry, 1.60 centimeter. And then going on. The distances are like that in a zigzag pattern. So practically I have maximized the space between this tree and this tree by avoiding to plant them in a straight row, in a straight line. This is one row. The next row is not exactly opposite each other, as you see here. One is there, next is there. The next tree on this row is not opposite this, is not opposite that one, is somewhere in the middle. So that increases the maximum space between this tree and that tree. That maybe is about, it's a Pythagoras theorem, you can just calculate it, is more than 2 meters of space between these two in this way. And that's the trick you do in a limited space to have your trees planted. Of course, next time I will talk about the rootstock, because this was for M27 and dwarfing rootstocks or semi-dwarfing rootstocks. I did have just this space. If you have more space, or if you wanted bigger tree, that means you will go for a different rootstock. We will talk about that later in the next episode. Beautiful day, sun is rising, slightly hiding behind the clouds, but hopefully they will vanish. This side of the sky is blue, and heralding the coming of a new day. This is the 2nd of the December 2015, and yet Topaz apple is going. I'll make a separate video about that. There are a few terms that you have to know when you are trying to buy trees. Most of us buy our own trees. Some of us will buy rootstock and graft on it. But this is about those people who actually buy the tree. So when you buy the tree, there are a few terms. One of the terms that you will encounter when you're ordering your tree is maiden. Maiden means a tree which is 1 year old since it has been grafted. So the rootstock may be 1 year old, then the graft also 1 year old, so that is 2-year-old tree, but we call it maiden. Maiden means the tree has just been grafted 1 year, and it's in the second year is where you plant it. Then after that, there was after maiden, you say 2-year-old tree means the tree has grown bigger and larger to a substantial size, about 1 meter or more, and 3 years old and others, as you know. Another term you may encounter is a tree which is a bare root. Bare root trees are trees that have been pulled out of the soil, and what happens is that they don't have any root ball with soil attached to it. The root ball, or the roots of the tree as they are, have not much soil with them. That is bare root. The root is bare, naked. There is no soil around it. Opposite to bare root is a tree that is in a pot. So you receive it, you can receive it at any time of the year. You can plant it at any time of the year. But bare root usually only can be received in autumn or winter and planted to grow in the spring. So after May or April, there is no point in buying bare root trees, because they will hardly be able to establish themselves. After that, in the spring and summer, you buy trees which are in pots. Okay, when you buy a tree, you might also encounter the term rootstock and graft. So rootstock is actually what is providing the food for the tree. In this case, up to here is rootstock. It may not give any fruit on its own, but it is able to provide the food and water for the plant. And based on the vigor of or energy or the root size of the rootstock, you can actually determine the top part, which is the graft from a noun fruit tree you planted. You graft it on that, attach it to that, clone it. The clone you attach to the rootstock will grow based on what the root can provide. So the rootstock will determine how big your tree will be. So the dwarfing rootstock we have also bigger semi-dwarfing rootstocks, and then vigorous and semi-vigorous and vigorous rootstock. The difference is that dwarfing and semi-dwarfing rootstocks, you should not let weeds grow around them. Of course, these were not weeds, they were flowers. Now I have to pull them out. But generally with the dwarfing and semi-dwarfing, because the root is very weaker, is not extensive, you could eliminate the competition for the nutrients, for the food and for the water. But with the semi-vigorous and vigorous rootstocks, you actually don't have that problem. You can have grass around them. So they can take care of themselves because they have more extensive root system under the soil to take the food and water from a bigger area. So they can go with some competition around it in the form of other plants. This is a pack of trees that I received from the Blackthorn Nation. You can going now to unpack it. It is very stormy today. The trees are here. I will just open them, then I will continue to video. Outside is really stormy, but I'm now in the old chicken coop, so hopefully I will be safe here. You can hear the sound of the storm. Let me check the trees. It seems there are 4 trees here. This is a plum Victoria. The plum that they gave me is a replacement for the tree that died last year. Second tree is pear. Beth is early pear. And I hoped that I will have some pears in the August. With this pear, Beth, I will have it hopefully. The other tree is a plum Seneca. I bought it because it's a hardy and it is tasty and probably large plum, if I remember correctly. And the other tree is a Olin Golden Gate. They gave me by mistake another tree, so they have to send me a replacement. Unfortunately, the replacement is not in the original rootstock which I ordered. Was Pixie, I think. They have to give me St. Julian. But anyway, that's alright, as far as it grows and survives. So these are the trees I've received, and I will check the condition of the tree inside by opening this bag. Okay, that's the roots of the trees. It's relatively dry. It has been a while that I had the time actually to come and do this properly. But I'm going now to heal it, meaning putting it in the ground. You have chosen your trees, the varieties, the rootstock, and now you have received your tree. What you want to do is to plant it. Best time, of course, you will receive your trees in the winter, and that's the time you can buy the tree as maiden. Maiden means it is a maiden bare root, means it's first year. Bare root means there is no soil around the root, or there is a minimal amount of soil. These are not maiden, they are more than 1 year. Maiden means 1 year tree. 1 year means 1 year after graft. And now I've received it. I don't have the time. If I have the time, I will just plant it now. So I will go for a video of planting. But at the moment, I don't have the time. So what I will do, I should not let the tree go dry. I should not let it stay for a long time without water. The tree is actually dormant, but it should not go dry. So what I will do, I will dig a hole deep enough. This is about 30 centimeter deep. And I put the trees with the roots. Nothing I will do. I will just put the trees with the roots, even clumped together like that with a tie break, and I just put it inside. So what will happen is that I will put it as a care of the soil. The rain and everything will keep them moist until I have the time to come and plant them. I can leave it until the spring even if I want. Hopefully I will not do it, but that's the way it is. Now the trees are out. I take them out. As you see, this is the roots of the trees. They're clumped together, 4 trees all. And I put them in this hole. What I will do now, I will hold them like that, then get sure that all the roots are within that hole. Then I put the soil back, and with my heel of shoe, I press the soil, not very firmly, just to keep the trees from falling. Okay, now I put the trees inside the hole, and I just gently press with my boot to make sure that there is not much air pocket inside. They usually say do it at an angle for the various reasons. One of them is wind, maybe topple them. But here, as you see, I have a windbreak, and this is stormy, as you see. The tree can stay here. It's near the fence anyway, so the tree is safe. The only thing is that I will just add a little bit of water right now, just to make the soil a little bit moist. And then what will happen is that the tree will take care of itself until I have the time to come and do it. And this is one of the Jerusalem artichokes. I dug it now. This is the Jerusalem artichoke stem, and one of the rhizomes or roots are out. I have to harvest it later. I will wait in the 2016 probably harvest it. Yeah. Now the tree are in the ground, and this process is called healing. Healing, H-E-E-L-I-N-G, healing. That's probably from the heel of the shoe, that you put them inside the soil like that. So hopefully the trees will be safe until I have the time to plant them. Most of the trees here you see have been healed before the final planting, so that's the process I have done a lot. Got a good result from that before. So hopefully this time I will also get that. Okay, now you have went and ordered your trees, hopefully from a reputable nursery. This one is from the keeper's nursery. As they arrive, they're wrapped and packed with the straw around them to keep it moist and warm and free from frost, and wrapped also in another layer of the plastic. So this must be around 7 or 8 trees that I have ordered, and by now is winter, January or something around. Today is the January of 9th of January 2016, so practically is the right time to plant a tree from now up to the March or April, depending on the temperatures. You can plant your trees. You receive it in such a condition, protected from the frost and everything, and you then go to plant it. Okay, when you receive your trees, you may not have much time to plant them. You can heal them, as I told in the previous videos. But when you have the time, just go and plant them. For that, first you have to dig a hole. So you dig your holes. This is the typical hole you can dig. You can make it a little bit bigger. You can fork around it, just with the fork, to loosen the soil, loosen up the soil. And then you can add manure, make it a little bit deeper to add some manure here, some food for the tree. Some say don't add any manure because that makes the roots of the tree lazy. They will not search for the nutrients going deeper in the ground. But I add manure because I know under this is a terrace sediments, river terrace sediments, and a kind of very rough glacial till. So after just half 1 foot. So that's a kind of like a hard pan, as if. I have several soil profile of these allotments that here are. So it is useful in such a condition to add some manure. And also, if you want, you can add this kind of root grow kind of fungi. It's a white substance, white powdery substance. You can buy it in the Wilkinson or any good garden center. Or when you order your tree, you just order that also from the same, if they provide it. Then you scatter all that around your root. But the general outlay is like that you just dig a hole 1 foot or a little bit bigger than that, 1 foot deep also, that will be enough. You put the roots inside that hole. And after that, you just wait for the next video. Okay, you have bought your tree, you didn't have the time, you healed in the trees, you just clump them together, just planting them in the soil to keep moisture available to the roots. But now the trees are awakening, so I have to go and plant them. So I'm doing with this first one, Gorgeous Apps Plum, from the Keeper's Nursery, and it's now in flower, so it's the time actually to plant this. And I'm going to do it. Gorgeous Apps Plum is a plum from Iran. It's very early. It comes in the late May or early June to fruition. It's a kind of green, sour, fruity, sweet kind of plum. You eat it because it's the earliest, and it's different to other plums because it's not very sweet. You eat it because it's very early and it's the only fruit available at that time. So I'm going now to remove it from the healed in soil and just go and plant it. Okay, now I have dug the hole about 1.5 foot across in diameter and about 1 foot deep. This is the Gorgeous Apps plum from the Keeper's Nursery that I'm going to plant. It's the earliest plum that you can have, and you see it's somehow coming into leaf, and here you see some leaf, and it's coming also to blossom. So it's a time to actually plant it. This is now 21st of the February, and I didn't have the time. So I removed it from the hill, and now I have dug a permanent hole for it, permanent place. This will be its stake. So I have chosen a piece of wood strong enough to hold it. I have, of course, here surrounded by the fence and the polytunnel which is behind here and the netting, so hopefully we will not have very strong winds blowing to it, because of course it is in the shade of the wind by the windbreaks that I have implemented here. So that's the tree. I'm going also to add some of this root grow. I bought it from the I think Wilkinson, yeah. Root grow mycorrhizal fungi. Mycorrhizal fungi that helps the roots to grow and extend. I'm not putting any manure this year. This place had manure last year. It was actually another plum here, which was bought from Asta, Opal, and unfortunately it didn't grow. Opal or another variety anyway, I've forgotten the name. I have to look in my notes. Unfortunately, the second year it had a disease. It never gave any fruit. So I just uprooted it, and I'm going to plant this Gorgeous Apps plum in place of it. It is already having some some manure. So some root grow, and then I will go for the next. As you see, I'm going now first to put the stake in. Okay, I put the stake in. Now I will put some fungi, mycorrhizal fungi here, just to help the roots grow. Okay, this is the mycorrhizal fungi. It's kind of like a lime. I add it here to the roots, in the root ball where the roots will grow. This has a very good root system, this tree. All the trees I bought from the Keeper's Nursery will grow like this. I'm giving it a good dash of this to help the roots really establish themselves. Now I'm going to position my tree, which I think, yeah, here is all right. Like this. And now I start to put the soil around it. It's almost near vertical, that's all right. Let me turn it, just this branch be free. Yeah, that's the ideal position. And now I'm going, that's by the way my asparagus bed. I'm now going to add the soil. Okay, now the tree is planted, and as you see, cherry, plum, Gorgeous Apps. It means it's small plum, and Goji Sabz means green plum in Persian. So that's a plum which comes earliest of the plums, late May and early June. It's green when it is unripe. You eat it when it is unripe. If you leave it on the tree, it goes kind of greenish yellow, watery, and not very sweet or tasty. Just you eat it when it is green and a little bit sour, fruity taste. And it's kind of delicacy. I'm telling you, you have to try it. Of course, if you just like sweet things, you may not like it, but it's a acquired taste. You can try it. You can have it with a different kind of pesto, mint or basil pesto means ground fresh mint or basil mixed with a little bit salt, sea salt if you like, and just like that. And then you dip the Goji Sabz cherry plum into it, slightly lifting a little bit of it and just eating like that. And it's very healthy. That's the earliest thing you can have, the earliest plum you can have. And you see it is now 21st of the February and it's given some beautiful blossoms, and some of the leaves are coming. On the Facebook, I saw that they're saying that you have to plant this, so I did it immediately. So that's the way that you plant a tree. So you have started to create your orchard in this way. This is the time for it. And the distance between this tree and the next one is about 1.8 meters. It's about 6 foot. And from this row to the next row is 1.6. That is less than 6 foot, 5 foot, 20 centimeter. 5 foot 10 centimeter, 5 foot and 4 inch about. And so they have enough space. Of course, I've planted them in a like a zigzag pattern. So this one is a bit offset, this one is a bit offset, the next one, which is that apple tree, is offset, that Jupiter apple, and then comes to this cherry, which is also again offset. This one was a Stella that had a canker, and I as you see, I remedied with a little bit of that Bayern tree paste or whatever you call it. Just use it when you cut something. It is against the fungus. And now this tree, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of God, I hope this tree will grow, give us good fruit, we enjoy it, and we contribute something to the society. If anyone wants, we can give. Thank you. Iranian medlar in bloom. Azgil Irani یا کنوس. Strawberry grape, a new variety that I'm trying this year. Pear variety Concord. It's the second year and it is giving fruit. Last year it gave 8 beautiful, delicious, sweet, aromatic fruits. This year it seems it's going to break its own record. This is the plum variety blue tint. In a way it's similar to the Victoria plum and is very vigorous. I bought this tree from the Blackmore nursery. It's the second year. Has some reasonable amount of fruits, as you can see. I'm looking forward. Last year I did a summer pruning and the result of it is these fruits and the branches now. I will do another summer pruning probably in just 2 weeks, 3 weeks time. This is Discovery, the apple variety called Discovery. It gives one of the best early fruits, apples, that I can recommend. Last year, this one didn't give me any fruit, but the other one gave 4 fruits. Delicious, beautiful skin, beautiful taste, juicy, and with a tinge of a strawberry taste. Chemistry of the plants are similar, so no surprise some of them remind us in fragrance and taste another variety of the plants. This is my favorite yellow red cherry. It's called Mertong Glory. It's named after a horticultural station of the Royal Horticultural Society. Merton was one of the directors, I think. Anyway, the size of the cherries. Today we had a hailstone. This is the ice falling from the sky. And the bird net took most of the pressure from that. We didn't have much damage to the leaf. Even the leaves I can say are not damaged at all. That bird net is freaking good. I like what I have done. This size of the cherries is the 19th of May, and look at the size of the cherry. They're really swollen. They're really grown large. And these are the woods that are new now. Next year these ones will give me also some fruit. So I'm really happy it's pushing out the cherry. Really delighted with this Merton Glory. I've ordered another similar to this. We will see how it will do. This is a plum. The name of the variety is Opal. Again, similar to Victoria plum, which is a famous plum in England, in the United Kingdom. And as you can see, is already swollen. They are growing big. No damage to the leaf because of the hailstone. And I can say that Opal about 2 to 3 weeks ripens earlier than the Victoria. My Victoria at the moment is very small, my Victoria plum. So I'm looking forward to have some of this. I planted more than 120 fruit trees and fruit bushes in this allotment over the past 15 months. The result of it is the orchard that you see with the polytunnel, which was built on the same year. And this is a mini tour of our allotment. This is apple variety called Winter King or Winston. It's very aromatic blossom. One of the most aromatic, besides the Discovery. This is one of the most aromatic. Probably even more aromatic than the Winston, than the Discovery. The smell of it is lovely. And I'm really happy with this tree now. Look, it has given some leaves. I was worried that they're not growing. Even some growth of the branches here. It's going to do well. I may have even some apples. It's a late apple, so it will be ready in late October, November. And it keeps up to the next year, 2016. Hopefully we will have some of these fruits this year. If we don't have any, not a big deal. Next year yet, we can have. A little bit damage to the aphid, due to the aphids here. Okay. But just superficial. If I try to open it, probably I can. I will do it when my camera is off. The sun is now setting. I was working, preparing another bed.